Hey y'all, Jamie here. Proud 55-year-old trans woman from New Orleans. So, where last I left off, I was in an unmarked police car with a rather well known, notorious New Orleans police officer named Eddie. We'll call him Eddie O. Okay. And all of the dolls knew Eddie. He was drunk. Against my better judgment, I had gone with him to go to his house, right? And yeah, we are on the Interstate 10 in Metairie. And his hand is digging between my legs, like, he thinks it's one of those, like, crane machines at the Pizza Hut, trying to dig for a prize, honey, just digging for a prize, the claw. So, yeah. Anyway, he runs off the interstate, down an embankment, like, towards, like, a ditch type of thing, hits a fence. Yeah, hits a fence, crunches the front end of the Crown Victoria, and we get out of the car there on side the I-10, and it's late at night, okay? And there are always cabs going back and forth between Kenner and New Orleans because of, tourists and this, that, and the other. They're always going back and forth to go to the hotels and to go to the airport. And so, it's not abnormal for a cab to be out there in the middle of the night. Eddie flags one down, and he shows the cab driver his badge, tells him, listen, I need you to kind of keep this to yourself, ha ha ha, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, we go to Eddie's house where he calls a friend of his that has a tow truck, right, to go get the car. And while we're waiting on this tow truck to bring the Crown Victoria to his house, you would think he would be upset and like the party would be over. Nah. No. He still wanted to go through with us tricking together and going upstairs and doing the deed and all of that, okay? So we did. And then by the time we were done, the car's being pulled into the yard not long after we're done. And, you know, needless to say, I told Eddie, you will never ever see me again where you're allowed to touch me between my legs until we arrive at the destination. That will never happen again. Now, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to tell a cop. I'm not going to tell a very well known cop in town, I'm never going to see you again because of this. Like, I'm not that stupid. Eddie could be very persuasive, okay? But I, you know, I told him you're not going to be digging down there for gold anymore. That's just not going to happen until we get to where we're going. So, that was it. And listen, me and Bobby Joe during this time, we're having a hey old day, and my little sister Deanne was still dancing in the quarter too, and she had moved in with a sugar daddy, okay? And this sugar daddy, believe it or not, lived in a building where I used to actually do a lot of intravenous drugs in the late 80s. And yeah, it's same building. But it had been cleaned out of the drug dealers in the shooting gallery, and it had become, a regular apartment building. So this guy's name was Mike. And Mike worked for, I believe it was like some kind of distribution, like warehouse type place. I kind of remember the name, but I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong. Anyway, so Mike is taking care of my sister, and she is still dancing, but not very much. Like, she's only dancing kind of when she feels like it. Listen, when you were a stripper back in those days, you kind of set your own hours. You kind of picked which club you wanted to work at. As long as you brought something to the table legitimately to the club, you could pretty much guarantee that you could have a job wherever you wanted to go, whenever you wanted to go there. Almost. Almost. So, anyway, yes, my little sister Deanne is living in the French Quarter on Dumaine with this guy, Mike. And he's taking care of her. And me and Bobby Joe are going over to their little apartment in the back, and it's a little slave quarter apartment. And we're going back over there, and we're cooking all kinds of fabulous meals. Listen, me and my sister Deanne, honey, you get the two of us together in a kitchen, and all bets are off. We are about to cook you some food that'll make you want to slap your mama. And I'm not even lying. Like, I am. My grandma taught me how to cook when I was a little kid. Starting when I was 8 years old, my grandma started teaching me things in the kitchen, and so I I pride myself on my cooking, and my little sister Deanne is she was the same way. So we would cook over at Mike's and, we would smoke copious amounts of weed. Just copious amounts of weed, honey. We were big old potheads. What do you want me to tell you? And so we're hanging out over there. We're watching movies, we're cooking meals, and my little sister is feeling very grown up, even though I think she was 15 or 16 at this time, like 15 or 16, somewhere up in there. And so, yeah, 15, maybe going on 16. Anyway, one day I was going over to her house, and she had gone into the building first. And her sugar daddy, Mike, who frankly was kind of a pervy old man. Listen, not old man, but a pervy older man. And Mike stops me on the sidewalk out in front of the building. And he says, Jamie, listen, I've been wanting to have a little talk with you about something. And I said, oh, really, Mike? What's that? He said, well, I just wanted you to know, I've had a lot of medical training. And if you'd like, you could come over to the apartment one day and I could do your sex change for you right here in the house. And if y'all want to know what happened next, honey, y'all know the routine. Be here tomorrow and I will too. I love you all. I love you all for watching, and I love you for the comments. Talk to you later. Bye bye.